Hi, welcome to the PHP programming overview. My name is Debshankar Mukhopadhyay. I'm going to teach you elements of PHP programming. PHP, which stands for PHP Hypertext Preprocessor. This is an open source scripting language. This programming language works on the server side. The advantage of using PHP is that it can help you to generate dynamic web content with very speedy development efforts. In fact, PHP has a rich repository of functions and it can run on different platforms like Linux, Windows, Mac, or Unix. And different servers support PHP. One of them is Apache, open source Apache server, or you can even work PHP on uh, Internet Information Service from Microsoft. The programming and development of PHP can be accomplished pretty easily by uh, XAMPP distribution. Let's see what are those. So first of all, if you look at this right hand side internet browser, this is the PHP main website for the PHP, php.net, where you can find all the information about the PHP documentation, all those systems, I mean all those information regarding PHP. So if you click on documentation, you can get to different levels of documentation. You can view in English and then you can see all the information there. And every information has a lot of uh, examples. For example, if I go to functions and if I go to user defined functions, they come with examples. Then for rapid programming, you use the XAMPP distribution from Apache Foundation, which can be reached here. You can simply download this distribution, which contains Apache Web Server, MariaDB, which is an advanced version of MySQL, the PHP, of course. For us, these three are most important things to consider. And then the IDE or integrated development environment, you can use Apache NetBeans, which is downloadable from here. And the NetBeans and XAMPP, Apache XAMPP, they can communicate very easily. So you can do rapid development using the NetBeans and XAMPP distributions. So the question is, why PHP? Why do you like PHP? So how about doing some discussions regarding that? I want to see I want to understand why you are trying to do programming in PHP and what are the advantages. Of course, one of the advantages is very easy, seamless development path, as I mentioned, and also very speed to market. I mean, PHP has a extremely good speed to market. That's why many organizations like Facebook, Google, the Wikipedia, they adopted PHP as their primary language of development. We spoke about the fact that PHP helps us to do dynamic web development. So when you talk about static web development, you think about some HTML file, right? That is the static. You have to add everything by yourself. But PHP can dynamically generate the contents, different types of contents. Basically, most of our interaction with World Wide Web involves some application and which has kind of HTML form, and using the form the user submits some data. You can use the get request or post request. If you have pretty small data, you use the get request. If you have bigger chunks of data, more secure data, you tend to adopt post requests, and PHP is well equipped with uh, for parsing the get and post request using their variables like dollar underscore get and dollar underscore post. These are called super global variable. That is, those are within the scope of the PHP application overall. It's a part of your web session that you are working on. So when you work on PHP, these comes to you for free. And not only that, there is even more interesting feature of PHP along with get and post. I mean, PHP has, I mentioned that uh, it has rich functionalities. One of them is filter input, so it can filter any kinds of inputs, including the get requests and post requests. Let's try to work on a web application using the NetBeans. So here we are. This is my workspace on NetBeans, and I can create a PHP project here. So you click on new project, select PHP application, and next. Then you can choose a web application. Let's say the application name is task list. I'm going in detail what is the requirement for this application to work. So let's finish it. Now, what we want to build we want to build a task list like this one. We will have a browser kind of this one, and in on the browser we will have a task list in the first we will have a task list, maybe a pointed list, task 1, T1, T2, and so on. Then we have an input field that where we can pass the name of the task, and then we will have some buttons like add task, modify task, etc., etc. So that pretty much our layout. So first we will see a task list. If that is empty, we will say that no task is there. There will be an input field where we can enter by text what the name of the task, and then there will be a button, and everything in the HTML. We are going to write a code, an HTML form first, and then we will see how PHP can be used to help generating the dynamic content and array of the task, the list of the task. We will deploy the application to XAMPP. When you install the XAMPP, you will get this control panel, and you can see Apache web server is running. So you can stop and start this web server like this, and MySQL database, which is actually MariaDB, is there, but we are not going to use MariaDB at this point. We will use MariaDB later for any other database related development. So let's switch to the development mode using the NetBeans. So this is our task list project, and let's create a file, a PHP file named maybe the PHP web page, because that's where we are going to build the form. Let's build something called tasklist.php. So this file is generated. You can see a simple web template. We can get rid of this commented section, and now we can start the development. Our head section can be pretty simple. I am just fast forwarding some of the steps, I mean speeding up some of the steps. So we can say the task list manager as the title of the page. Then under the body we can have a header called task list manager, so you exactly know what you are working on. So let's make it a little better, and you can do it in this way. Yeah, that's our initial page. And then we are using a main.css, which is a style sheet. I'm just getting the style sheet from uh, I mean, it is already built by me. I am just using it in my project. So style sheet is simple CSS file. So I'm including it, and under the main section, I'm going to create the forms. So let's create a main section. Let's not work on PHP script yet. So we can create a main section here. Under the body, we can define a main section ended by matching end tag, and under the main section, that means you were working under the CSS. Let's say what are the errors? I mean, let's define some variable. Now let's use some PHP, real PHP code. We can define some error variable. These errors, this is essentially an array. You see the problem, because we started a for loop. So I mean if block, so we have to uh, close that one. So we can write the list of the errors and the end the block. So this can be as simple as this one. So that is our error block, and you can see the errors are displayed here. So that's it. Now, as a next part, we can start introducing the tasks. Now, these variables, I mean, we will populate the errors array somewhere else. We will define it in the index file. I'm coming to that point. So we can have a task list. We can maintain a task list like this. So here we can also embed another part of the PHP script, and we can say we can define an array task list in the index file. I'm coming to there, and if you have the list, then you just define them. Just remember this one, we are defining it here, and then if there is no task, we say there are no tasks. Okay, very good. Now let's go to the next part, where we want to add some tasks. So adding task is basically involving some forms. So to that effect, first of all, we need to do a line break here, so that we can go to the next section. So you see here, I'm creating a new header, add task, and then I'm doing a form. Form has two components, action and method. Tell me why I'm putting dot here. What does it mean? It means everything happens here in this particular. I mean, it refers to the when you say dot, that means we are referring to the index page of the application, where the forms activity will be handled. So you could define some other PHP page as well, but that's it. And then you can just manage the task list here. You see, if the uh, if your if the task list has more tasks, then you are doing the task information, and here you have the task, the value is there. So you mention the task list here, and then you just you are inputting a text, and which is the task. So the name is new task. It's plain HTML, nothing else is there. So then we are submitting, creating a button, submit button, and then we are defining a field, a name called action, and then corresponding value is add task. That is the submit button's value. So now we are going to do some programming in the main function, main program, main.php. I meant index.php. Let's take over the index.php, where you can see I'm defining the task list. I mean, I'm just parsing it from the input, filter input. I mentioned about this. So from the post request, and you can see that I am validating if it is an array. Now next is if it is null, then I am defining an empty task list, and then the action, that is basically whatever action I'm requesting for. Right now we have only one action, that is add task. So if the user add a task, then it will add a new element to the PHP array. You see how we are manipulating the PHP array, but next time I will be asking you to do some programming using the PHP array. So follow carefully. Now this is our index file, and then simply we have to do include and then just we have to write task list. That is the function that we have created. That is the program we have created, and that is it. And that's end of our PHP code, the index file. Now we are going to test our application. One quick question: if we have, you can see we use the include, right? If we don't have this task list.php here, if we make some typo, what's going to happen? Guess, do a guess. So it will simply throw a warning message. But you see, there are built-in functions to pass the controls. Here we are passing the control of the index file to task list.php. You could use include, but if you use require, then you know if the file is not there, you will get a fatal error message. So you have to be careful about that. But also, if you need absolutely a file to be there, just use the require, or at least require once. Well, let's test the application and let's run it. So you can see this task list manager, no task is there. That's how it works. Now let's add a new task and add task. So you can see the tasks are populating. Let's say we have another task, task 2, another task, task 3. So you can see we are keep adding on the same array. So basically these tasks are generated dynamically using an array in PHP. So that's what I wanted to demo you, and at the same time we learn about uh, important things today, that is dynamic. How can we do a basic dynamic web application with PHP? Any questions? We have a quiz as well, uh, like a PHP tag embedded with HTML starts with what? You have done this, right? So you can see the task list and you can see it here. You see, this is the start. I mean, PHP, if we embed PHP in HTML, it starts with this one. So this answer should be the correct one, the third one. And a PHP variable name is case sensitive, can contain special characters, can start with a letter, digit, or two underscores, can be a PHP reserved word. None of these below three, I mean, two, three, four, these three options are invalid. So this teaches you the properties of a PHP variable. It can be case sensitive. Yes, a PHP variable can be case sensitive. So any question, let me know. Okay, so it was nice talking to you today, and we will follow up on that. Thank you so much for listening. Talk to you later. Bye.